I was driving home just before sunset when my phone rang. Unknown number. No name. No warning. The voice on the other end was tight and breathless, like someone running out of air. Ma'am, I found your daughter in the woods. She's alive, barely. My hands locked around the steering wheel. What woods? I asked. Behind the old quarry. She had your number in her wallet. You need to come now. The call ended. I turned the car around in the middle of the road, gravel spraying beneath my tires, my heart pounding louder than the engine. My name is Evelyn Brooks. I'm 56 years old. A widow. A retired nurse. A mother. And in that moment none of that mattered. All I knew was that my daughter Meline was somewhere in the dark, cold woods alone, injured and fighting to breathe. As I drove faster than I should have, one thought repeated itself over and over. This wasn't an accident. Mothers know the difference between bad luck and danger. And whatever happened to my daughter out there, someone wanted her quiet. By the time I reached the dirt road leading to the quarry, night had begun to fall. I didn't know it then, but that drive was the last moment of my old life. Everything after would be about survival, truth, and a kind of revenge that leaves no bruises but lasts forever. I've lived in this county my entire life. Same roads. Same faces. The kind of place where people recognize your car before they recognize you. After my husband died, I stayed, not because it was easy but because it was familiar. I worked as a nurse at the regional hospital for nearly 30 years. Night shifts. Emergencies. Broken bodies. Quiet goodbyes. I retired 5 years ago, believing my hardest days were behind me. Now my life is small and steady. A vegetable garden. Baking on Sundays. An old sedan that rattles over potholes but never fails. People describe me as calm. Reliable. The woman you call when something goes wrong. What they don't say is that I don't quite belong. My grandfather used to tell me, you don't survive by being loud. You survive by remembering. He was a veteran. He believed trouble doesn't announce itself, it watches first. I remembered his words as the quarry came into view. Because my daughter had married into a family that believed money erased consequences. And families like that never lose control gently. This wasn't about an argument. This was about power. And my daughter had crossed a line she was never meant to see. The road narrowed into mud and ruts, trees closing in like they were swallowing the path. My headlights cut through fog as dread tightened in my chest. Meline was 32. Sharp. Observant. The kind of woman who noticed details others ignored. She married into real money at 24, the kind that changes how people speak to you, how doors open, how problems disappear. At least from the outside. After the wedding, her calls grew shorter. Visits less frequent. When I asked how she was, she always smiled and said, "Everything's fine, Mom." I wanted to believe her. Because believing was easier than admitting. I was watching my daughter disappear inside someone else's world. Nobody accidentally ends up beaten and left near an abandoned quarry miles from town. Someone chose that place. Someone chose the darkness. When I saw the pickup truck parked near the treeline, my stomach dropped. A man stood beside it, pacing. I slammed the brakes and jumped out before the car stopped. "Where is she?" He pointed toward the woods. I ran. Branches tore at my arms. Wet leaves slipped under my boots. I fell once, scraped my palms and kept going. Then I saw her. Too still. Too small. My mind refused it. Until she opened one swollen eye and whispered my name. I dropped to my knees. "Meline. I'm here." Her face was swollen. Hair matted with blood and dirt. Her breathing was shallow. One arm bent wrong. But she was alive. Who did this? I asked softly. Her lips trembled. My mother-in-law. The name landed like ice. Margaret Hale. Charity boards. Fundraisers. Magazine covers. A woman praised for generosity by people who never looked closely. She said I didn't belong, Meline whispered. Said my blood was wrong. Something inside me went cold and precise. This wasn't rage. This was calculation. Meline grabbed my sleeve. Mom, no hospital. They have people everywhere, she gasped. If I go there, she'll finish it. Sirens wailed in the distance. Nurse or mother. Law or survival. When the system is against you, you protect your own first. I ran back to the road. Did you see who brought her? I asked the man. He shook his head. I thought she was dead. I'm taking my daughter home, I said. I'm a nurse. He hesitated, then nodded. I'll tell them I was mistaken. We moved fast. Quiet. I buckled her into the car like she was 5 again. The moment I drove away, I knew I'd crossed a line. There would be no protection except what I created myself. Melanie broke the silence. I found documents, she said. Financial records. Transfers. Shell companies. Offshore accounts. A charity laundering millions. She drove me here, Melanie whispered. Said it would be easier to talk away from the house. Metal. Blood. Darkness. She left me to die. Then she said the words that changed everything. I took pictures. Everything's on my phone. That's when survival became leverage. I took back roads. Turned where instinct told me to turn. When Melanie said, I think they put something on your car, I pulled over. A tracker. I tore it off like it was poison. Then I made the call. Daniel, I said. I need you. My brother arrived before dawn. Former military. Quiet. Precise. My house became a command post, then an abandoned risk. We fled to my grandfather's old hunting cabin. No road. No address. While Melanie slept, Daniel worked. And what he found was worse than we imagined. Margaret wasn't impulsive. She was methodical. She won't stop, Daniel said. She knows about the baby, Melanie whispered. That ended any doubt. We didn't go to the police. We went where she had no control. Her husband. Public place. Bright lights. Witnesses. Proof. Not threats. Richard Hale listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't deny. When I placed the final envelope on the table, photos, records, betrayal, his jaw tightened. What do you want? He asked. Safety, I said. A divorce. And your wife gone from our lives. He nodded once. And just like that, it was over. Margaret Hale vanished. No headlines. No trials. Just consequences. Melanie slept without fear. Spring came. In June, my granddaughter was born. Nora Brooks. No powerful name. Just ours. Melanie kept her last name. That was the real victory. Justice doesn't always arrive with sirens. Sometimes it arrives quietly, signed, sealed, irreversible. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destruction. It's survival.